I'm David Bellard, one quarter of the Black Wealth Renaissance. What Black Wealth Renaissance is a movement to educate the community on financial literacy, investing, and ownership through positive messages and sharing tools, resources, and tips that they can use to build and attain wealth. We accomplish this through our podcast, the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast, one of the top podcasts in the world. Our group, BWR Academy, we have weekly classes, weekly budgeting calls, accountability calls, our financial classes, our products, our events. We're doing a whole lot of different things within the community, all about upliftment and just trying to inspire the next generation.
Yep, and even just add on a little bit with David's story, we got started.
What's your name, brother?
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I apologize.
No, we need to kick it there.
Oh, yeah, appreciate
like
that.
that.
Yeah. But hey, how y'all doing? I'm Jared Spiller, another fourth of the Black Wealth Renaissance. To add on a little bit with what David was saying, how we got started, we were college roommates, and we originally read Rich Dad Poor Dad. We started listening to Todd's podcast, the original version, and
Todd Capital,
yeah,
billionaire podcast.
Yeah, like back when it was that. Love to, but before he even had Rashana, like it was before, like
Before the Rolex.
Before the Millie, Todd Millie before the Millie.
But like, so we were, listening to all this different stuff, like kind of learning a little bit more, and we wanted to help to bring resources to our community. We started seeing that it was something that wasn't well talked about. I had gotten them to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we just really needed to go for it. Yeah, no, I pestered the hell out of them until they read it, and then from there, like we learned, like I said, got started and really just never stopped from there. We wanted to spread that message to everybody, like help everybody start learning about financial literacy.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, just want to hop in and give Charles his flowers because I always have to. With Black Wealth Renaissance, I gotta let him know that he's always been instrumental in it, because he's the guy that inspired us, right? We were listening to his podcast. I'll never forget the day, October 31st. I'm listening to his podcast. We've been talking about Black Wealth Renaissance for a while. We had seen Charles in the beginning. We shared some of his content. He shared a lot of our content in the beginning. They've really been a supporter from day one. And like, listening to his podcast, he had HBCU Wall Street on. They said simple stuff. Post 3-4 times a day. Keep going. Keep it going. I like, hey man, we can do this shit. Text my brother, started the next day, and he was like one of the first people to comment on our stuff and said, dope. Yeah. And I remember that shit. Like, I gotta give you your flowers because you've always been supporting of us, and like, we couldn't be in this position now without you first helping plant the seed and then helping it grow too.
That's dope. That's dope, man. I appreciate it. So you guys have come a long way. Did you ever think that you would get to where you are now? You guys have 500,000 followers. You have your own university. You have the podcast is blown up. Did you guys expect to be here?
Honestly, at the beginning, that wasn't what we thought it would be. Like we knew it was something that we wanted to see and people needed, but we didn't think it was gonna grow to become what it is now. Like this multimedia platform that is really like a financial education and entertainment platform, all in one, and just providing different tools and resources to the community. But at the same time, like I feel like we've come so far, but we still have so far to go. You know, like just continuing to grow as business owners and develop and like impact the community on the level that we can.
Yeah. So before we get into the tweets, I do have another question that I've asked you guys in person, but I think it would benefit the listeners. Can we talk to you guys about how you keep it together? Because you guys are on stage, and I was like, I always say it's difficult to work with other dudes, but you guys are 4 dudes, and you've been doing it for, you said, like 2 years. How do you keep it together?
I'm gonna let you take it, Jared.
I was about to say, like I said before, at least with so there's 4 of us total. Me, Jalen, David, Kelly, right? Jalen had been best friends with David since like they were little kids. Me, David, and Kelly were all roommates. So like not like really on a lot of conflict stuff, but we already kind of knew each other. We had a vibe for like each other's moves and stuff. Like it really wasn't a hard time working together, and none of us really have issue being open. Like I can say something that I know he doesn't agree with, and it won't be a problem. Like we'll talk about it. I might see his point, he might see my point, and then we move on from there. Like it's never like those type of things have never been a big issue. So like that's how we've been able to make it work. Like we just all communicate together.
And with that too, I think like we cool about not always being right. Like if three of the members, 3/4 of us say, hey, it's gonna go this way, I'm not gonna be combative and be like, all right, no, we're gonna do it this way. Like, we just gotta understand it's a democracy in this thing.
To what extent would you say that the mission alone kind of drives you? Because I think sometimes it's important to have a vision and a mission that's so big that you don't even really care about the small stuff that you run across. And I think that that's what's cool with what you guys are doing is it's something that like you can't accomplish alone. Like you really can't close the wealth gap alone. You need people, but it's also something that it keeps you focused on the long term. So to what extent would you say that vision matters as much to keep the group together?
100%. Like it's integral. I'll say it like that. It's necessary. It's always got to be kept at the forefront. I know for me, like the messages from people, that always lights that fire under me. Because like every now and again, I can't lie to anybody. It's hard at times, man. Like, you know, we're working, trying to build Black Wealth Renaissance to grow it to be the media company and business that we know it can be, but we also still have lives and responsibilities and things that we have to take care of outside of it. Yeah. So it's like growing the business, and then at times whenever you come across those challenging times or whenever you just don't feel like doing the work, that message or like that one person that hits you with that keep going, I get a lot of keep going. It's like, man, what y'all doing is so important, bro. Don't you ever stop doing it. It's stuff like that on the day where I'm down, it'll always just alright.
Which one of you guys was the person that quit their job to go full-time entrepreneur? Was it you or was it somebody else?
So Jalen quit and I quit. Jalen actually just re-entered the workforce. He started the job as an insurance adjuster, and I'm still full-time entrepreneur.
Really?
Yeah. Between this Black Wealth Renaissance, I have another Instagram page, Black Wealth Movement. Do social media marketing on there as well.
I like it.
Just a couple different things, you know. Get to it a few different ways.
The Black Wealth Movement page is blown up too. That's a good, like over 100 grand followers, right?
I think it's nearing up on there. It's just, you know, I was like, I'm doing this all day. I have a skill set at this. Let me replicate it, because I noticed a lot of pages, they'll do that stuff, right? Like really like the money making page. It's like this one guy named Josh Kuhl. He puts out like the same content on 5 different pages, and it works. So it's like, I mean, I'm seeing all this content I'm doing. Let's just create another one. Let's replicate the system. I said I can grow a social media page. Let me do it again.
Right. It's so funny. I was having that conversation with somebody today, and he was asking me about Blacker Pockets, which I don't talk about too much. But he was asking me like what happened. He said, "Did you sell it? Did you get any money out of it?" And I was like, honestly, no. I realized that I could blow something up, and I just applied it to my own stuff. So like the same energy, the same effort, the same intensity that I was putting into that, I brought into my own business and actually was able to blow it up on my own terms without having to kind of deal with that stuff. So we got the tweets, because that's what we do on Tweet Talk, Raphael.
Yep. This is Tweet Talk, where we dissect tweets and talk about building black wealth. And you guys aren't that big on Twitter, but we're going to find some tweets tonight. So I'm going to start off, since you guys were just talking about who quit their jobs. I saw a tweet by George Pitts, Mr. George Pitts, Mr. Monetize Everything. He said, "Stop quitting your jobs to start businesses that aren't even profitable yet. Leverage your income to build more income, not eliminate one income to try and start another one. That's hustling backwards."
Hey,
what y'all say to that?
I mean, I can say it's a living testament. Like, I'm a person who jumped into entrepreneurship, right? I'm pretty transparent about my journey. When I jumped in, I was not receiving income from Black Wealth Renaissance. Was Black Wealth Renaissance making money? Yeah, but we was all money into the end type mentality. So I had to find other ways to generate revenue for myself. And I had a 6-month emergency fund. I had money saved up. I was living with my parents, so my expenses weren't super high. So I was like, I can take the risk. I can bet on myself. And it's paid off. I've actually made more money through entrepreneurship than I ever got paid through a job every year since I've been a full-time entrepreneur. Yeah. But to George's point, having that job, especially while we're young in these building phases, it's another source of income that can just supplement and help me build even faster. Because what I really want to do is like, dang, I'm looking at this crypto space like, bro, if I can get as much money as I possibly can into this, I know I'm going to end up winning in the long run. Because we're still so early in crypto, I feel. Yeah. But that's just kind of my thoughts on the whole idea of leaving early. I agree with George on that idea. Like, don't leave if you're not making the money, because it was scary. It was rough at one point. It was like, oh man, I don't know what's gonna go down, but when I started making the money on the other side, it was like, okay, all right, I can do this.
So for you, when do you plan on going into full-time entrepreneurship, if at all? Like, what's that look like for you?
So I actually recently went into full-time entrepreneurship, and we were joking about it and talking about it like earlier. I was like, man, I don't know. That 9 to 5, like I might be headed back, like just because like the situation that I'm currently working with and everything, like it's not making as much money as I would hope, and so it was supposed to end up being like my second source of income, along with like BWR and some other different things that I had going on, and a lot of stuff has just like failed terribly and crumbled on me in the past. Bro. Yeah, like I had bought a rental property, had all types of issues with it as far as getting it fixed. Was able to fund a lot of that with 9 to 5 money, and then turned around and was about to get it moved to some land that I had purchased, and then fell apart. Like the whole thing bad, too old to be moved, I guess. Like structure wasn't.
You're gonna lift it up and move it?
No, like the way that they do it, as far as like they have to get it. It's hard to explain, but they have to get it hooked up to the trailer. It has wheels and everything.
It's a mobile home.
Yeah, it's a mobile home.
Okay, got it.
You can move it, yeah.
I was like, you about to just, I mean, they do that.
Yeah,
I've
like
seen homes get moved,
houses, But so it was a mobile home, but it did not work out. So I'm currently dealing with that situation and everything. So it's like, I had a lot of stuff happen to make it to where it's like, I'm still not screwed because I was smart enough to like set up an emergency budget and everything before I left the 9 to 5, but it definitely makes it more difficult to like continuously invest, because like that was another thing we were talking about, like dollar cost averaging. Now that we understand, fully grasp what it is and all that, like is a non-negotiable.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
Like, that's in there like bills. Like I got a dollar cost average.
I don't think our listeners know what dollar cost averaging is. Can you help them out with that one?
Set amount toward an investment on a set period. You can do $500 a month, $100 a week, $50 a week, just starting where you are, what you have. They got so many apps that you can do it on. Stash, M1, Robinhood, what else? I mean, most apps, they'll allow you to invest on a frequent basis. You can do roundups and all that, but dollar cost averaging is simply investing in something like an index fund. Yeah. That's something that I really wish I'd have did more at the beginning. Just like looking back at it now, I'll throw a lot of money at individual stocks, and like now I'm looking at like, bro, these index funds, like these bitches don't lose, like they keep hitting.
Yeah. How old are you guys, by the way?
26.
About 26. Okay, you guys still got a long way to go, man.
Oh yeah, right.
You're not even at 30 yet, so.
That's what we keep hearing.
30 is lit, by the way.
They're like the guys on the the example they always give. This guy started at 18 and invested regularly for like 10 years, and then he stopped. And all this, that's your guys, man. Y'all just getting started.
Right, and then also it's like the mistakes that you're making aren't like the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's just gonna allow you to do it better the next time. So it's like, all right, we did this deal, it didn't work out. In a year, 2 years, 3 years later, whatever your financial situation looks like, you can do it better the next time. You might even do it better next month. But like the experience doesn't knock you down. It just kind of like sharpens you up. Like that's what happens, I think.
So I did want y'all opinion on George's tweet too before we move on.
What was the tweet again, Raphael? Something about
leaving your jobs.
Stop quitting your jobs to start businesses that aren't profitable yet.
Yeah, and honestly, it scares me when people do that. When people don't have something going and they just like, what do they call it? Hop off the porch, like jump off the porch. Like I think it's irresponsible.
So it's like, y'all, you ain't me.
Well,
Stop
I mean,
thinking you me.
No, the thing is I didn't even do that. And we were talking about that last night. Like, I didn't leave my job until I didn't need a job. Like, I don't need the income because I either have the cash there or I have the income coming in. And so that's why I tell people those evenings are important and the weekends are important. If you're not maxing out those, you're probably going to be real lazy as an entrepreneur, because quite honestly, now that I am where I am, I'm very lazy. And like they were talking about today is like once you go into full-time entrepreneurship, sometimes you waste a lot of time. Like you oversleep. You work like a little half a day, a little 4-hour day, and you call it a day. So I think that the goal should be to build that business in your off hours. And then once you have these things built up, like that's all I was doing the investment club. We were doing the real estate investing. We were doing the truck. We were doing all these different things, putting these sources of income in place so that then when I did leave, I could fully be an entrepreneur. And interestingly enough, like I think I told Raphael this, is like when I did leave, I make every single day what I'll be making bi-weekly on my job, if not more.
Sheesh.
And so, like, and that's even money I don't even need. So it's kind of hard to explain, but you're gonna make more money as an entrepreneur if you don't need the money. And a lot of people, what happens is they leave the job and they're like, all right, I'm making money in my business, I'm gonna pay my bills with it. Not like I'm gonna put this into a property, I'm gonna reinvest, I'm gonna put it into the truck. Because we gotta spend a lot of money too. And so that's all I would say is I think that it's levels to it. I was talking to Andre before I left. He was like, you need that safe $10,000 in passive income. For me, because California, got a wife, got a kid. But like if you live in a different state, you might need to save 5 or save 3. If you can get $3,000 passively, you're good. But the cool thing is when we had that conversation, I started creating. I was like, all right, subscription services are really big. Let me go ahead and create a subscription. They pay $20. If I get 50 people, that's gonna knock out the car note. If I can get 3,000 people, whatever that number looks like, now I'm creating that income. And so I would say lean on a subscription service. I've told people, like, you have value, create something, create a group, create a mastermind, create something, put a dollar amount on it and charge people to participate per month. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and everybody, it's like every successful person tell you the same thing. Was this a Grant Cardone the other day saying the same thing? Like, he quit his job to start his business and he almost starved. Like, it did not take off. It did not take off like he thought it would, man. Like, you forget how much energy you got put into this stuff. Like, it's just crazy, man. Like, people can smell the desperation on you, and then it's harder to sell.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because you're trying to pay bills. Like, you're trying to make money to pay the rent.
True.
Pay the light bill instead of money to invest, like, or go on vacation or whatever. But you know, it's just crazy to see people do that. And I think part of it is like they just see the lifestyle on.
I think a lot of it has to do with social media.
Yeah.
And like I have noticed a lot less people doing the, get out your 9 to 5 type thing in this area. Just in general, a lot less people have
in
been doing
Biden's America is less anti 9 to 5 talk. We just want a good job.
Yo, that's crazy.
Good job.
No, but I have noticed like a little bit more of people kind of identifying it because a lot of people. That's the thing about business. It's hard, and you're gonna have to spend money. Whenever you make that's what we were just having this conversation earlier. 6 figures in business is not a lot of money.
Right.
But if you talk about it on the internet, it sounds like a lot to people, right? They're like, yo, you made 6 figures in business. And don't get me wrong, that's a good feat. Like, you want to have a business that's growing. But when you start thinking about the things you got to spend money on, like you were saying, you're not making that much. You're not making $150,000, $200,000. You're going to make a fraction of that. It's just, you got to take money to make money.
The only advice that I'll give you guys, though, is you guys have a huge following. You need some product, man.
Yeah.
You need a lot of product. So even if that looks like partnering up with like superstars, like you could say, hey, we have this huge platform. Terry, come help us out, do a stock course. Hey, we have this huge platform. X, come and do a real estate course. X, come and do an affiliate marketing course. X, come and do this. Because that platform is so huge, and you guys might think that you're doing them a service by not selling them anything, but what you're gonna notice is your following might even triple when you start having product. Because then you're gonna get results from your product. And people are gonna be like, man, this is such a great course. Thank you, Black Wealth Renaissance. Testimonial. And now you guys are 500,000 followers, man. You guys should be doing like 10 million. You should be doing like 10 million. But you gotta get some stuff out there.
Gotta get the product in the street.
Right. And even that, like, so you guys have the ebook on credit, right?
Yeah, we have a few.
Personal
products.
finance.
Right.
And they got the academy.
Turn those into courses. Get in the front of a camera, record the same exact thing that's in that book, turn it into a course, put a dollar amount on it. It doesn't have to be high ticket. You can make a good amount of money being affordable. $50, $100, $97, $20. But you gotta start building out that library of content. That's what's gonna help you guys get that revenue, because you guys should all be that many followers, man. That's a captive audience. I know you guys have a ton of emails. I know you guys have a ton of all that stuff.
Yeah, and the thing was for us, I guess it kind of felt that for us at the beginning. Our whole MO was, let's give the information away. Let's get it to the people. Let's put it in. It just has to be putting them products in the street.
Right.
After this, man, look, what you got?
Well, no.
Welcome to Millie University.
Nah, I was just gonna say, like, even with what you was asked earlier, like, as far as like, did we plan on it to get that big? Like, it really was just like, we just want to make this to be a resource. We just want to like give all this information out for free. Like,
absolutely,
we didn't even care. You know, it was just about like, hey, I'm trying to do as much as I can just to help all these people. And then later, after the following grew, and we started talking to different people and stuff. That was just like, y'all not treating it as much like a business as you should be. We were just like, oh shit, we're just trying to be good people. What do you mean about that part? So we had to kind of learn different parts of that and stuff, like to start to implement.
I think that you can do both. I think that you can, and honestly, you do the most for people, because think about it. He was talking about it today. Like, there's the concept of giving things away, and there's the concept of like an exchange of value. So if you give somebody something that's going to allow them to earn $1,000, $10,000, and you only charge them $100, $200, you're still giving. It's still a benefit for them.
Right.
And so I think that you can do a combination of both: free podcasts, free courses, free ebooks, free different things. But also, we got to get you guys some revenue, man. You can't help the poor if you're one of them.
That's fair.
You guys can do some. If you guys had $10 million, you know who you could be helping? You guys could be going back, putting on fairs, putting all these different things, going and talking to different schools. So
that's true. Because even with like not having that, we've done like we tried to do stuff as well. Like even we had like a laptop drive, and we like gave away some laptops and stuff. We partnered with Best Buy to make that happen. But,
nice.
Like, that was pretty cool. Like different little stuff like that, and we not even making that much. Like as you're talking about, it's like a 10 million yet or something like that. So if we did that, like, nah, bro, the philanthropy would be crazy.
100%. Yep.
When did you guys start the academy?
May. We launched in May.
Okay.
Hey, man. What did you launch with? Like, how many courses, or
So
how is it set up?
The courses in the academy, with BWR Academy, we have at least 3 calls a week. We're going to have the weekly budgeting call on Sunday, where we go through budgeting resources, strategies, talk about the savings challenge that we do. On Wednesday, we do a morning accountability call. Wake up, get your ass up, let's get right, get in the right mood, let's get through the week, right? And then we're going to have at least one class from an expert in some field. Like we have at least an insurance class, a financial planning class, or some type of business class that you can attend and just tune in and learn something.
Yeah.
And all of those replays for all of that is always accessible to everybody in the academy. We drop other resources in the academy as well, just like giving different assessments and different stuff. Like we have different channels dedicated to different
Discord.
In our Discord, different channels that have like resources and stuff like that they can refer back to and everything. So, and we also do a lot of like feedback with them to try to see exactly like, okay, what might be a topic that people are struggling with, or what's something that y'all are interested in, like different things like that too. So
Yeah. I like the university. That's a dope idea for sure.
Hey, and if there's anybody interested in joining the academy, y'all can go to www.bwracademy.com and you'll get your first 7 days for free. So you can come check us out before you join, and after that, it's just $27 a month. Come in, get your financial education up. I think at this point we got a backlog of probably like 20 or 30 classes that you can just go through on various topics.
Wow.
We'll have the link for that in the show notes, of course.
Right. We will have that in the show notes. That's cool, man. I thought it was more like, I don't know what I thought it was, but that's cool. Moving on. So, David.
Yes, sir.
You had a tweet where you said they want the gains, but they won't take the risks.
Yeah.
Explain that one. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I was listening to music. I think it was the Nobody song, Lauryn Hill and Nas. I heard her say something like that, and just tweeting it. You hear a line of a song like, "Hey, that shit hard."
Right.
What would that mean to you, though? I mean,
like, I feel like a lot of people. I get a lot of people asking questions about different things that I do, different ways to get into passive sources of income or different streams and stuff, but they won't take the action or the risk. Like, you want the pie, but you don't want to put the work in. Like, that's kind of my whole thing. Like, you want me to do it for you, or you want somebody to take away the possibility of a loss whenever losses are gonna happen. Like, you can't run away from that. You just gotta take it on the chin and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
They want the pie, but they don't want to lose the apples. That's crazy.
I think that speaks to like even this whole thing like, oh, I gave my money to this person to flip. It's like why didn't you learn to flip it yourself? That's why the education that we are talking about is important. But I think that a lot of people, what they're trying to do is they're trying to invest with no potential loss, but also shift all the risk on somebody else, right? Because if they could do it, they do it themselves. And so they want you to take the risk. They want you to take the responsibility of getting them their money back plus interest. And that's why I'm not a fan of it. Somebody slid my DMs last night and I was about to slap him. He's like, hey man, I got 10 grand. Can you flip it for me? I was like, why would I do that? It reminds me of that one tweet that we posted about how people are sliding your DMs asking for a free game on how they can make money.
Yeah.
Like, nah, bro. Like, it wasn't free for me.
The people that give me is the ones that send you their number. Like, hey, bro, call me. Why?
I don't even know you yet. Like,
you ain't even introduced yourself. Just call me. I need to know
Word.
something.
Word. I guess they think you're just sitting around all day
Waiting to save them. Who can I
Nobody
save
doing this
today?
shit. We all got our own stuff to go do.
It's like, I got $20. How fast am I going to get this back? Like, come on, man.
It's $20.
$500. Where my dividends at? Not talking about anything specific, of course.
Oh yeah. Nothing specific, but just saying.
Right.
Our people do need to have a more realistic timeline of like investments and the different vehicles that you're doing it through. Like even when you teaching about options, right? Options are an opportunity to get asymmetrical returns for what you put in.
Define asymmetrical risk for the folks.
Asymmetrical. You put in a small amount of capital and you have the potential to earn a large amount of capital while only losing the capital you invested.
Right.
So you can put up $100 on an option and you've seen it on his page, plenty of people have sent it in. You can make $10,000 off a play like that if you catch the right play. But you gotta do the background work for that. That's not just something that, like you said, nobody's gonna do that for you. You gotta do that research.
you have to do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, Tay Sweat was saying today at the conference, the Accelerate 180 conference put on by King Ashley Ann. He was saying, people don't want to risk anything and they want the money back fast.
Yeah.
Like, but they don't want to put in the work. And he's like, you just put in a year studying and practicing, like you're good. The reward is way bigger than the risk. I mean, if you put in the time to study and practice, but people don't want to. It goes beyond the stock market too. Like, even starting a podcast, people don't want to, or anything else. People don't want to risk looking foolish. People don't want to risk like putting out bad content. It's like, oh, I'll be looking at this microphone. What's the best microphone to use? What's the best headphones to use? Because they don't want to risk putting out bad audio.
Yeah.
I would say the interesting thing about that across the board is it comes down to what your why is. Like, are you just chasing the bag? Because if you're just chasing the bag, you're not going to do a lot of things. And we've been doing the podcast for a while and never even thought to even monetize it until this year. With trading, like, it has to be a why, because it's going to take a lot more than just saying, oh, this stock is popping, let me throw some money at it. Like, if you have, when I first started trading, it wasn't just to run it up. And when I was trading to run it up, I lost. I tell people that the reason why I started trading was to buy an engagement ring. And it was a very expensive engagement ring. It was like 10 grand cash. I couldn't get the credit to buy the ring. And so I had to get the cash, and so I was in the lab. I was up late at night. I was up early. I was grinding. I was studying. I was watching CNBC. I was reading the books. It's a lot more to it. But like they're saying today, you put a strong year in it and now you're solid. But also what happens is your skill starts to compound. So that first year, the second year, you start to increase your income, but you still got to put that time in. So there's no quick fix. And I think as a culture, going back to what you guys are saying about we need to have a more realistic timeline, a big part of the reason we don't is because we aren't in that space. The reason why accredited investors are accredited investors is because they're successful investors and successful business owners. And they know the process. There's no shortcut just because you're white. It's not like a fast track to business success because you're white. Like, no, you still got to go take it to market. You still got to warm up the market. You still got to compete with people that are already in that space. And when you do those things, you start to realize, like, it takes time to do this. So when you participate in somebody else's deal, you're not on them at month 6. Like, where's my dividend? Where's my interest? Where's my quick flip? Because that's not realistic. And so I think as a culture, we need to do more business ownership and investing before we just start to kind of participate in somebody else's. Raphael, what you got, man?
What do I got? So we are here. We're doing this live from Little Rock, Arkansas, because we're all at the King Ashley and Accelerate 180 conference. Me and Charles were in attendance, and these two were speaking. I mean, what are your thoughts on the conference, even though you guys weren't here for the full
Hey,
time?
man. Accelerate 180, the most lit lifestyle and business conference, has lived up to its name. I really enjoyed myself.
It really has.
Yeah,
It really has.
enjoyed myself from A to B, you know, like coming into the event, seeing the setup of everything, going into the actual venue and seeing like the work put in, seeing the team behind the event, really recognizing that Ashley employs a lot of her family, which is something that I really love to see. Like I see it with Terry too. Like it's really powerful to see this come together. Our family putting this on and benefiting. They're putting something that's adding value to people, and they're also making money doing it together. And it's just like, I'm having an amazing time here.
Yeah, it's really great.
I told Raphael at the highest level, this is a family business. What were you gonna say?
Oh no! I was just gonna say like it's been a really dope experience. Like one thing I thought that was impressive from it, like, and it kind of linked with what you were saying as far as her hiring a lot of her family. I only saw Ashley Ann at the certain parts where she was supposed to be seen as far as speaking or teaching or something like that. She didn't have to be everywhere, you know. And like that's a big thing that happens with entrepreneurs too. Like you end up having to be employed by the business, and you have to be there. You have to do everything. It's hard to like lay off that control to other people or have other people that you can put into places to do that. And I thought that was so dope that like I didn't see her until it was time, you know.
One thing I would tell the listeners is you get there with time. I'm not sure how many years she's been doing this, but this is not the first year. Yeah. And so for you guys, don't expect to be where she is at year 7 at year 0. So you're going to have to run your own damn conference in year 0.
But yeah, but you definitely want to work towards that early on. Like there's one speaker that her name was Amber Aziza. She was talking about how to become a paid speaker. And she's based out in London, and she flew to the conference just because of the relationship that she had with Ashley Ann. And she was like, I don't do free conferences. But because she called me, I flew across the pond. But she says when she's on vacation or she's not around, her company still runs without her. And she said, in fact, I look at my phone, when I check in, or when I finally check in, I'm making more money when I'm not there. So I was like, am I the problem? Like, what's going on? But that's the point that we all need to get to. But it's an amazing conference.
I would say the gym there, from what I've experienced, is just really difficult to make money when you're doing all the work. And that's why I tell people like automation and all the things that come with e-commerce are going to help your business scale, because I think I made a few sales and the phone's way over there. I ain't seen no tweets, I ain't seen no posts. And so I think that with her being able to step out of her business, now it's even more impactful and even more successful. So 100%, you should look to get there as soon as possible. Absolutely, because that's going to help you make more money.
So, Charles, you said people who only destroy. If they aren't destroying one person, they're destroying another one. And then after they destroy them, they're going after the next.
I posted that tweet because I was on my ghost account. Y'all know I got a ghost account. I see everything on Twitter. Y'all can't say nothing that I can't see. Yeah, I got a burner account. And so I was on a page, and I saw that they were tearing down somebody like 3 days ago. And then the next day they moved on to somebody else. And then today they're moving on to somebody else. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, why are you, like, how's your energy to just kill off people? And my problem with that is, like, people come to me and they're like, oh, well, I know you're probably having a field day. I know you probably feel a certain way. But I don't think you can do both. I don't think you can build and destroy. You have either progressive energy or regressive energy. And that's why I brought that up, because I see people who all they do is tear people down, because that's all they do. They can't do anything else. Their energy is just aimed at picking people apart, finding the flaw, exposing them, like bringing them on the timeline, dragging them. And people like that never prosper. I told you, the slander crew, they got like 8 followers. They've been on Twitter as long as I've been on Twitter. So it's like you can't build a following while you're just destroying people. You can't build a business while you're destroying other people's business.
I agree with you in that standpoint. That's something that I've always felt, like progressive energy is progressive. Like I always take Hamza's analogy, Hamza Sabri, the Global Connect. If you got a clean glass and a dirty glass and you put them next to each other, people naturally gonna pick the clean glass. I don't have to tell you this one dirty. Like you're gonna look at it and see it's not good. Like why do you feel the need to destroy other people? That's not my MO. If it's something that happened and I don't agree with it, I'll distance myself. But I'm not going to publicly malign people, and that's just not that's not how I get down. That's never been me.
You guys don't seem like that kind of people.
It ain't worth your
Y'all
time.
got the good energy, man.
You say,
like
Jared.
Alex.
That's never been my fault. That's just never been our vibe. Like, also, quick, can I curse?
Sure, man.
Do whatever you want, man.
It's
We do
tweet talk.
whatever you want.
I
Tweet
just
talk.
wanted to check before I said, like,
Yeah.
we have always said, like, sometimes people on the internet be on weird shit. Like, and I think a lot of people never been cool off the internet. that, you know, can help and hurt in some ways. So, like, shit, we've been cool. We've had friends. Off the internet is an existence that we have. So, a lot of that shit don't bother us as much. Like, and like he said, if it's something that we really can't be cool with, then, like, we'll acknowledge it, say something about it, and then you can just move on about your life. It don't require all that.
Right, and I would say about that whole thing is like, think about it. When you get your haters, like, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but like, it's like you see somebody hate on you, it kind of messes up your day. You focus on the one person that's had something negative to say, but you gotta realize that the haters, that's what they do. They're just professional haters, or I said they do it for free. But and also, they don't even think about you for too long. So you shouldn't be thinking about them for too long.
Yeah, they usually move on to the next target.
They don't even remember the next day that they were hating on you, because they just move on to the next one.
Haters gonna hate.
Now, there was a speaker, Jake Taylor Jacobs. He said I don't know if did you all catch his?
Yeah, man.
They were there.
Oh, yeah, right.
We was chilling with Jake right before the speech, man. Great brother, man. Great brother.
He said, you can't call yourself wealthy if you aren't operating like a bank. He also said you can't be a bank if you don't know your value. What did y'all think when he dropped that line?
Can I hear it one more time? So I agree. I just wanted to see exactly what he said again one more time. But like, the thing is that a lot of people don't understand how to operate as a bank. You know, so I feel like that's an important thing for people to learn first. But from there, and that's what he was talking about too. Like, operating as a bank should be something that every person can do, every family can do, every community can do. And
Wait, what do we think he meant by even when he said operate like a bank?
So, I mean, as far as being a producer and not just being always a consumer, like, we should be able to produce things, because I know he talked about that as well. Like, we should be able to be producers that we can all equally consume from and gain value from. You know what I mean? And not in like a negative way, but in a way that we're exchanging value, like you said earlier, and sharing resources. Like, it doesn't have to be a situation, or it shouldn't be a situation where you always have to go outside of your community or outside of yourselves to go get resources. And that's what I think he meant, or how I felt about it as far as being a bank.
I keep thinking about that part about not this one. Yes, you can't be a bank if you don't know your value, right? Whenever he says that, we actually had a conversation with him similar to what Charles was just kind of saying. Like, knowing your value is important, and the way you perceive yourself is important whenever it comes to building a business. We got to think of ourselves as $1 billion corporation, or we're not gonna get there. If we don't think, if our mindset is only like, oh yeah, we're four friends chilling doing this, it's never gonna be $1 billion corporation. That vision has to be there, and I think that's kind of what that means. And then that you can't be wealthy if you're not operating like a bank. To me, it just kind of means thinking that you want to pay less interest than you receive it. I think that's what I get out of that. Like, whenever you're the bank isn't in the business of losing money. The bank is in the business of borrowing money, having you save money so they can leverage your money to go make money off lending money to people, right? You should think the same way, in a sense like that. I remember one time you had tweeted something like that about like getting $1 million, leveraging the million to loan to people. And I don't remember the exact figures of it all, but I remember I was like, damn, 1 second, you can do shit like that?
And it's funny because I used to work in a family office, and the family office is basically a bank, but a family is what he was saying should actually be the bank. And the way he broke it down is he said, all right, so you have a bank is a bunch of families getting together, creating a corporation, lending money out. And when we first started the investment club for stocks, investment club for real estate, we realized, damn, we're kind of a bank. Because when you start putting a bunch of people together, it doesn't matter how much money you put in, it still grows to a large amount of money. $1,000 put together, you can buy a house a month. $1,000 put together with 20 people, 30 people, you can buy a house however often you want to. But the interesting thing about it is a bank, all they are is a glamorized middleman. A bank is like the Uber for money. They control a bunch of money that isn't their money. Uber controls a bunch of vehicles that aren't their vehicles. Airbnb controls a bunch of apartments and homes that aren't their homes. We can do the same thing, and people are doing the same thing. It's just we have to have that confidence in ourselves, that trust in ourselves, and we got to learn business, because you can't start a bank with somebody who doesn't understand that you might not see this money back for the next 15 years. But we got a bank now, and we can do these things now. And the interesting thing about it is when you start pulling, I noticed like one business can save the whole family. One business can fund everybody else's business. If you have one successful venture, then let's say you make $5,000 or 5 mil, 10 mil, and then your wife wants to buy a franchise that happens to cost 50 grand. You're not tripping off of the 50 grand. But if you didn't have a business, you'd be tripping off the 50 grand. Or your mom wants to leave her job. My mom left her job. We leveraged my email list to get her tax clients. She had her biggest tax year. I think she like 10x her tax business. Why? Because my resources allowed me to then funnel my successful clients to hers. One successful business is going to allow everybody to win. And so that's why Asians come here and they group up. They're like, bro, we don't need everybody to have their own individual business. We just need one of these to pop off. And a lot of times what happens is we come over here like, no, this is my shit. Like, this is my business and this is mine, and you go over there and you build yours. I never approach anything like that. I have my own thing because I got to, because it's hard to get people to support what you have going on, but I support everything that other people have going on. This is really Raphael's podcast. I just be supporting him. I don't get no money off of this. And so like, but that's the way it should be. I do it because I've always wanted it to happen for me. I've always wanted a strong number two. I could never get a strong number two, so I had to be the number two for somebody else. And so what I would say is that, like, the family is the bank. The family can do everything that the individual cannot do. If you want to go and get a rental property, I guarantee you'd have an easier time if it was you, your mom, and your dad walking in there getting that loan. Their income, your income, their credit, your credit. It's a no-brainer. We don't do it like that, though. We're like, you better go out there and get it on your own. You 18, boy. And then we wonder why we struggle, but then they ain't playing the same game. They're not doing that. But they're getting ahead by any means. The Jews are getting ahead by any means. They're not out there trying to prove something. They're just trying to just not struggle. That's it. The struggle is
The struggle is not it.
Right.
It's not it. But speaking of the official CPA of Todd Capital, gotta make a mental note. We gotta ask her if we could turn buying those white suits for the all-white party into a tax write-off.
I don't know. We're gonna try.
We're gonna try. But operating like a bank, for me, that's like an interesting perspective, man. It really shifts your mindset, like being the head, not the tail. Like you said, making sure you're getting more interest back than you paying out. Pay them out 1% and get back. He was saying like the banks will pay you 1% on your deposits, but if you walk back into the bank to get a loan, you gotta pay them 5%. I was sitting there like, you'd be lucky if you get a loan for 5%. And you think about it, you get a credit card and your credit ain't that great, you paying like 25%. And 1%, what bank is giving you 1% right now?
It's a big hustle, man.
And they're giving you less than 1% nowadays. They're like 0.001 or some shit like that.
Yeah, and it's like, but they look at you with a straight face. Like,
I think that is kind of like the reason why crypto is out there these days, and like decentralized finance and whatnot. Because my thing is, if you know if it's a hustle, that's why you have to become the bank, because you know that what they're doing is a finesse. It's kind of could be called a scam. If you're lending me my money back at a higher interest rate than you're paying me, like, all right, let me go ahead and create the alternative. That's I'm always about creating the alternative and owning it.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting too. What you said a little while ago about family office being like is basically a bank, and we haven't talked about family offices in a while. Like, so if you're new to the podcast, a family office is an office when somebody has like a net worth of like 50 million plus. Sometimes they open what they call a family office. It's literally a group of people on payroll that all they do all day long is try to build that family's wealth and preserve it. Basically, like he said, like a bank. All they're doing is taking those millions and trying to find deals.
And the cool thing is you can also do the same thing with the foundation too. So if you're really wealthy and then you want to, as a tax strategy, defer some money to your own nonprofit, now you can also hire your mom, because I think like Jay-Z's mom runs his nonprofit. He said that, like CEO of Carter Foundation, something like that. But anyway, that's I think some wealthy strategies we're trying to employ here.
Just taking them steps toward it, put it out there for our people to aspire toward it.
And man, I had a question. I forgot what that question was. Oh, so man, you guys mentioned that you're taking a break from the podcast. What are you looking to do when you do revamp it and bring it back?
So we're ending recording 2021 to come back in 2022 stronger and better.
Yeah.
Looking to do more batch recording the content and taking advantage of weekends. So we partnered up with this group, Black Menswear. I'm not sure y'all may have seen them. The brothers, they do the flash mobs.
The flash mobs, yep.
Yeah, and I was seeing how they set their stuff up and how a few other people, Andre Hatchett, we record episodes of his podcast for him. Like, he comes in, he does 4 or 5 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
And the way we're currently doing things, every Saturday we out here recording podcasts, where it's like, let's turn the podcast. We already have an audience, we have attention. Let's take it and turn it into an experience.
Right.
So not only are we going to do the batch recordings episodes, but that same weekend we're going to come in, do a live recording, and also do like networking events and potentially do some workshops. So like turn it into more of a weekend experience versus just being like us recording podcasts.
Got to, man.
Yeah, getting that content and then being able to put it out, like recording 4 at a time, 5 at a time. Now we got to work with the content, put it out, run it back next month.
Yeah. Actually, when I was in Atlanta and I was at Andre's, I went to record for him, and he told me that's how he was doing it. When I went to Atlanta, I went the same studio. I just batched it the same way. Boom, 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 boom. My voice was very hoarse at the end, but I got a whole month's worth of content. The in-person podcast, what made you guys want to go that route?
Because there's a lot of cap on the apps. And that's honestly, to be real with you, that
makes a lot of sense.
More problems from like people from social media who've already had captive audiences that have been partaking in activity that we've had to pull episodes down for, than like people I've met. I can shake your hand in person. Like, I've been inside your business. I see people here. Like, I don't have to guess. You can talk the game good, but do I know you're really doing this, you know? Yeah, and so like that. And then on top of that, the energy. Energy is unmatched on in-person podcasts. You can't fake. Like, Zoom is cool, but that energy, like, is very rare it'll be the same. Like, when you sitting down, it's a genuine connection, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes for better video content.
100%. Way better.
Way
Because nobody wants to see that Zoom stuff.
No.
They tolerate it, but they don't want to see it. Even when you have multiple cameras, it's better. We're working on getting the multiple cameras.
Yeah.
And
Corona content was ass. Oh, man, I hate it.
one thing I noticed about podcasting is it expands your network. Have you guys experienced that effect?
Yeah. So many people that like I can just hit up and get advice from and things like that. Like, even tell your story, man. Come on.
Which one? What happened?
Remember you DM this man? You DM'd him before we had a podcast.
Oh man! So I'm trying to remember exactly how the things that went, but long story short, I had DM'd Charles about something, and we didn't really like have that big of a following yet. We didn't have a podcast.
Didn't have rapport.
We didn't have rapport with him at all. I didn't come rude at all or nothing like that. Like it wasn't just some hey, like give me some money stuff, like nothing like that weird. But like, I did not get a response. I don't know if he was just busy. I don't know what was going on, but I did not get a response. And then later, we had like built up the podcast. We had like started going to social media and stuff. And then he was like rocking with us and stuff. And I was like, well, ain't this about some shit? Like, I just tried to get in contact with you, like. But basically, that was what had happened with that. But it was cool. You know, we didn't take anything.
Did you send it from the business page or a personal page?
No, it was a personal page thing.
Maybe I didn't. I
He
probably
said
didn't
before the
connect the two
podcast.
then. Yeah,
No, he
I
said
probably didn't
before
connect the two.
they had a podcast.
I hear you, but
Like,
I mean, even
before.
still, they have their own personal pages and
and
their.
then on top of that, with podcasting, one of the biggest things I think, like, people are so much more willing to talk to you when you have a podcast because like
That's what Raphael says all the time.
It's free advertising. Like,
Man.
yeah, of course I'll come tell my story on your podcast. I don't know how many listeners you got. I don't know how many listeners you'll have in the future.
Right.
It's just putting the content out there, getting that rep in,
It makes sense.
and then now this is somebody you can get in your Rolodex.
And that was the same way it even started, honestly, with like the social media too. Like when we came in and we were highlighting people, doing different segments and stuff, like really posting different entrepreneurs and stuff on the page in the very, very beginning before it became more so information. We like a lot of people really rock with us because of the fact like well, nobody giving them shout outs, well, nobody worried about the fact that they were investors and stuff like that. But we came in and we cared. We thought that was dope. We shared that, and like a lot of people appreciated it. And it's just the same effect, but like 10 times more on the podcast.
One thing I'll say for the listeners is doers want to hang out with doers. And so if you want to be noticed by doers or people who are out there making it happen, you got to do some stuff. And so when you start doing some stuff, they'll take notice, and then it becomes more of a mutual thing as opposed to like the millions of people hitting folks up, because you might not, people on the watching this might not realize this, but y'all ain't the only person DMing that person. They got a lot of DMs,
Right.
and a lot of those DMs sound the same. Hey bro, hey big bro, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And so it's like, you got to determine who you're going to invest your time and your energy with, especially when you don't have a team. Now, a lot of us have people in the DMs respond to the DMs, making sure we're not leaving people on red and whatnot. But at that time, I can't imagine I had anybody who answered my DMs. So if you want to get in the room with folks, you got to get on their level. That's what I would say.
Yeah, the podcasting is a hack. I mean, that sounds cliche, but it is definitely true, man. People want to get on podcasts. If they're smart, people want to get on podcasts. Maybe they just want to do it because they want to spread the word and get the word out. But then some of them is like, they're smart enough to know that this is an easy way to get a broader audience and for them to sell their product if they're really selling a product like that. But it's a way to broaden their audience. And people kind of like to talk about themselves to a certain extent, you know. And I will also tell you, people definitely get into conferences. And if you combine you have a podcast and you go to a conference with that live in person connection,
We brought the
people,
studio with us, man. We're going to even
you
get
can't
even better
beat it.
next time.
Like, I go to the conference and I say, "Oh, we got a podcast," and people who are millionaires are impressed. Oh, you got a podcast? Oh, shoot. And then they give you your phone up. Like, I put my phone out for something. They say, oh, you want my number? But I was just pulling my phone out. Say, oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They're like, man, you could give me some extra bread and some more followers. I need that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird, but a lot of those people that are like uber successful in business and stuff, a lot of them they're not that good at social media. They're like not that good with that type of stuff. I don't know if it's just because they've been focusing so much on whatever they've been doing business.
Right.
Yeah, like real estate, you know, whatever their venture may be, but like a lot of those people aren't good or don't have that big of a following. So it's
Or to be like,
how many followers?
I don't
Isn't
have
that crazy?
I don't have a Instagram at all. They'll say like, oh, damn.
They built it up differently. These days, we build it up on social media. They kind of like had to build it up going to networking events and stuff, making phone calls and stuff. We're going to hit them with the Oglesby and Scott show wrap-up questions. What is your favorite business or real estate book?
I don't mind. Business, Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice. I really, really love that book just for the power of the mind piece. You know, you don't realize how much you hold yourself back by not being able to believe. You know, not being able to think that you can do the things that you can do.
Yeah.
And like
That's a bar right there.
It's heavy. Like I love that. I love that book.
Listening to it on the way up there.
Really?
For me, I think it gotta be the E-Myth Revisited, because that one really, it like kind of put some stuff in perspective for me, and I revisit it every so often, just because like whenever you're getting into the entrepreneurial journey, you don't want to get so caught up in that self-employed trap. Like it's something just to always keep in your mind, or like making sure that you're operating your business and you're not letting your business run you. Like it's a mentality of being like a fire killer, where you're just running around and stopping everything going on in your business, instead of being in the business of fire prevention. Like, you know, like stopping before it happens. Just don't be running around trying to kill everything. Like, oh, I gotta fix this and I gotta fix that. I gotta fix. No, put systems in place.
Raphael, what's your favorite business or real estate book?
It used to be The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. Joseph Schwartz. That's a good one. It's an old one from like 59 or something like that. My new one would be, I would think, the 10X Rule by what was it? Grant Cardone. Right. The 10X Rule, man. Like, you gotta put out way more energy and way more effort than you might think in the beginning.
My new one, since we bring in like the old school classics out, I think everybody should read, if you have not already read it, The Miseducation of the Negro. A lot of people don't think that's a business book, but it's straight business gems. So check that out. Check that out.
Man, that shit had me infuriated listening to it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, God damn, they got us like this.
Right.
Yeah, but no, that's a powerful book.
Who is somebody that you look up to and why?
My first inspiration has always been my father. Hard-working guy.
Is he an entrepreneur?
Side hustlepreneur. I feel like he got his 9 to 5, and he always had his thing on the side where he did his work, and you know, he's a mechanic on the side. And like, I always respected his work ethic. My dad always was that type of person, like, get up and go get it. Like, what you gonna do? Like, why you gotta sit here and just wait? Like, no, go get it. Like, it gotta get done. And that's, I respect him a lot, and it's instilled in me. Like, it makes me have that work ethic to not mind working a 16-hour day if I have to.
That's dope.
For me, it would be my grandpa. He was the first like entrepreneur I knew, first like real estate investor I knew. He started all of the interest for me as far as when I was a kid. I used to ride around with him as he was collecting rent and different stuff like that. And so like that was a huge inspiration as far as me even getting started, like starting with mobile homes. My grandma is still, like, my grandpa has passed at this point, but my grandma is still here. And she still manages the mobile homes, like, and has all of them, the whole portfolio, as well as the single family homes and stuff that they have. But she manages the portfolio still, and so like that has always just been a huge inspiration to me. And yeah.
Dope. Raphael, who do you look up to, man? And why is it me? No, I'm just kidding.
So I would say two people. I would say my mother, because she did the best that she could with what she had and the information that she had, you know, back in those days, you know, and stay strong. And I would say you. I was gonna say you, because you put in a lot of work for the people.
The peeps, man.
This guy, man.
Take a lot of heat.
I take that back.
Take a lot of heat from the peeps too.
Right, I was gonna say that you took a lot of heat from. Well, you still take heat from people, but you took a lot of heat.
That ain't gonna stop, man. People, like, they gonna just hate, but hey, it don't stop shit.
Yeah.
Cancel culture's so weak to me. People that's canceling you do not do nothing for you.
Right.
And they don't even have the power to do it. So why you?
All right. I would just say the last question I would ask you guys is,
wait, who you gonna say, man?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Man, who do I look up to?
And why is it you?
No, I look up to Raphael, man, because he keeps me on. He keeps me on point. You know, when I don't want to record, he shows up. Now, I would say, who do I look up to? There's a lot of people collectively, man. I look up to a lot of the people in Atlanta that are out there crushing it, working together, building businesses. Those guys are doing super cool things. I look up to other entrepreneurs, man. Like, interestingly enough, like the lifestyle that I live now was a lifestyle that I saw a lot of people living. And I would see like Erica Williams hopping on first class flights, going to different events, Rashana Scott, they were just doing all these things. And I was like, man, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to go to these conferences. I want to be able to go to these speaking events. I want to be able to do all those different things. And so what's interesting is I think that it kind of evolves, like the things that you look up to evolve. And so I went from wanting to be there to now being there to now I'm like, all right, I think I want a Lambo. I want a Ferrari. I want to be on a jet. So I think that that's where I aspire to be next. And so that's where my mind is now. So that's what I would say I'm looking up to. It's not really one person in particular. It's like collectively all the guys that are doing really cool things. That's what I would say. Last question, since we're talking to Black Wealth Renaissance, and usually we ask this question on the Oglesby and Scott show, what does wealth mean to you?
To me, peace of mind. That's it. Like peace of mind and prosperity. Like wealth means that I can know that whatever needs to be taken care of, I can take care of it, and my family is gonna be straight.
Yeah.
Like that's what is the ultimate goal is to be just knowing that my people gonna be good.
For me, it's a combination of like two things. One of them being time freedom, just being able to do a lot of different things. And I definitely I'm transparent. That is a product of my childhood. My dad had to work a lot. My mom had to work a lot. So like I want to be able to be around and be there for my kids a lot. So that time freedom is huge and important to me. And the other thing as far as wealth is like being able to take care of your family. One thing I didn't get to say earlier, I didn't think about it until afterwards. With my grandpa, like even with him having been passed, everything is fine with my grandma.
That's
like,
dope.
If she doesn't get another retirement check for the rest of her life, she's still fine.
Nice.
Like he set it up, they bought all the land for all the mobile homes. So he was like, hey, if it all burns down, then the insurance won't cover it.
That's
Not
dope.
lies. We still good. Like that's what
dope.
wealth means to me.
That's dope. Man. Raphael.
I would pretty much say the same thing they said. To me, wealth is gaining time freedom, and the other thing is knowing that my family is going to be set once I'm gone. That's about it.
Yeah. For me, wealth, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. So it's tough for me to boil it down into a sentence. So I'm not going to boil it down to a sentence. We'll flesh out what you guys know my opinion on what wealth is. We've discussed it on a lot of different podcasts, but it truly was an honor to have these brothers on the show. They have 500,000 followers, man. That's a lot of folks.
Turn
And
that 500,000 followers to that $1 million, like you said. You gotta get that
100%. Yep, 100%. So, I mean, anything that I can lend them to get them to that number, that's what I'm here for. So maybe we'll be brainstorming and doing some masterminding, because I need to do we need to do high level masterminds. Like it's cool to be coaching people up, but we also got to bring folks together who have followings, figuring out how we can kind of like explode even more. So that's what I want to work on doing. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you? And where can they support what you have going on if they don't already know?
Okay, so you can follow us individually. You can follow me at David Bellard. You can follow our page at Black Wealth Renaissance. To support us, you can join BWR Academy.
That's
at
IG, right? You saying, right?
Oh yeah, all on IG, on Twitter. I forgot, it's Tweet Talk. Yeah, on Twitter, I'm David the Goliath, and our page on Twitter is BWR_movement. Yeah. If you want to support us, you can get our book, Manage Your Money Like the 1%, Introduction to Personal Finance stuff right there.
Yeah,
you
get
can
that.
get one of our digital products, of course, it's one of our affiliate offerings, learn about real estate, stocks, all that stuff. You can join BWR Academy, private membership. You can text events to 337-455-7778 to get on our list so that you can know whenever we're doing like live events or different things across the nation. We're really going to be active in 2022, so I highly recommend you join the list. Oh, and October 8th, we're going to be doing another one of the Bosses and Brunch events in Dallas again. This time we're going to be at the Cowboy Stadium.
That's dope.
You can join the wait list for that at www.bossesandbrunch.com. Yeah,
Be there. It was lit, man. Raphael, you gonna be there?
When is it happening?
So
October.
October 8th, so we're gonna have a networking event at Cowboy Stadium. Then the next day, we're gonna do a workshop that morning, live podcast that evening, dinner that night, brunch that Sunday.
Lit, man.
Sunday
We gotta
fun.
get you out there this time, Raphael.
We
Gonna be a
going.
whole
right.
vibe this time.
All right.
Raphael's on a world tour, man.
We gotta take it, man. Gotta take it on the world.
Coming soon.
Yeah. Check us out, Raphael.
All right, so be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at TweetTalkPod. That's POD. Follow myself, Raphael, on Twitter at WorkMoneyLife. Follow Charles on Twitter at RealToddBillion, because he's the only one. Follow us on Instagram at TweetTalkPodcast. Follow Charles on Instagram at at Todd Billion, and also the Todd Capital page at Todd.Capital. I'd like to leave you guys with two last thoughts. Where Charles said, so many black folks get in the bag these days. Hopefully we continue to run it up. And also, I'd like to leave you with one thought from one of the speakers at the Accelerate 180 conference by the name of Connie S. Falls. And she said, you cannot create generational wealth without generational documentation. So write it all down, folks, and pass it down that way. For Tweet Talk the Black Wealth Podcast, I'm Raphael. On behalf of Black Wealth Renaissance, myself and Charles, we are out. Peace.
Appreciate y'all, brothers.
Dope, man.
Epic.
Good time.